Danny, let's get to work.
Good.
So, this is the first time we're doing it live, so people should see this as a serious transaction.
Yes.
It's not just a joke. As we've done in the years in the past, I'm going to go over both of the documents with you.
Mm-hmm.
And once you go over all the documents, you understand exactly what's going on over here. Refresh your memory from last year. We will, please God, execute the actual sale. Okay. So before we do the actual sale, I want to introduce you to the smaller document. This is called Shtar Arav Kabla in Hebrew, which means when a person gives somebody a loan, the person does a sale. If I'm not sure if I'm getting paid, I say, Danny, this is an expensive thing. Can you afford this? Mm-hmm. And you say, well, I have a friend, he can afford it. So I said, okay, fine. You know what? I'm selling it to you, but I'm not going to come to you for the money. I'm going to go to somebody else. And I'd be very comfortable now, right? Because that somebody else is going to be the one that's paid.
Good.
So for example, if I were to sell you a house and I say, you don't have the money, I say, well, I don't have the money, but Royal Bank has agreed to pay for, so I can't pay you for the house. Royal Bank's going to pay for the house. So I put a down payment of $20,000 in the house, and the person who sold the house goes to Royal Bank. He gets the rest of the money from Royal Bank. They don't come to you and you go to Royal Bank. They go straight to Royal Bank. And that way, our transaction is finished. So when you're going to execute this transaction this morning, you're going to pay me a down payment, right? You're going to give me $1,000 as a down payment for all the chametz. You're going to give me $1,000 as a down payment to rent all the spaces where the chametz is. However, you're also going to give me this document, which is going to be signed and executed. And once this document is signed and executed, it means that you don't owe me any more money. I will not be coming to you for money. I'll be coming to Rabbi Bucket, who's from Chicago. Rabbi Yossi's father who's visiting us for Pesach. He's not part of the sale. His chametz was sold in Chicago. It's being sold separately. So he is the one who I'm going to be dealing with after this. Once we have our sale completed, you and I no longer have any, so to speak, legal position. I have no more expectations from you. So just so you understand, this is basically like a check. It's like a blank check that he writes. My handwriting below, and you can take this and you can take it to a professional translator. I'm just using the original Hebrew because I know the Hebrew is written in a very precise way, and I'm not sure that the English translation will exhaust all possibilities or cover everything. So my handwriting affixed below, this is going to be Rabbi Bucket, who's not here right now, but he's going to be coming here shortly, serves as testimony, like 100 witnesses. It's a euphemism. That all of the money that the non-Jew, who is Danny, Damiano Durante, yourself, owes to myself, to Rabbi Kaplan, for all the chametz that he has bought, and for all of the animals, let's say pets. People once upon a time used to have farms, maybe somebody has chickens, that they feed chametz to maybe cows, maybe goats. So anything like that, okay. Rabbi Bucket, you're already live.
Right now?
Yeah, we'll have a seat. We're talking about your document now.
Right.
So for any birds who are being fed by chametz, who you have acquired by virtue of an act of acquisition. So we're going to do something called like the equivalent of legal tender. When you make that acquisition, so then it's going to become formal. So if anything like that, anything in our agreement that was agreed upon is hereby that's fully executed. At this point, you will no longer owe me any money. It's an enormous amount of chametz we're talking about. I'll show you, like we really have from many places. Many people have empowered me this year. But at the end of the day, when our deal is finished, I'm very grateful. You bought the chametz. I will not be asking for anything else. I'm going to go to Rabbi Bucket. I'm going to be asking him to pay the rest. Now he may come to you to get his money, but that's his business, not mine. And that's stated very clearly here in this document that this man, Rabbi Bucket, is going to indemnify, reimburse, and repay all loans 3 days after Pesach of this year, 5778 from creation. Now, there's absolutely no complaints that I can have to you if he doesn't come forward with the money, and I make that very clear. I can't have any expectations of you whatsoever. As soon as you're done, the deal is done, I can only go to him to get the rest of the payment. Now, we don't know exactly how much the chametz is worth at this point. You're a grocer. You've been working with no-frills and groceries for many years. You know that a bag of macaroni that will retail for 89 cents, the moment it's open, is not worth 89 cents anymore, right? Maybe it's worth 50 cents. Maybe it's worth 25 cents. But of course, God forbid, there would be some natural disaster and there's no more macaroni. a bag of macaroni like that all of a sudden to be worth $89. This is the commodities market. We don't expect anything like that to happen, but who knows? So everything has to be, some things have to be weighed, things have to be measured. However, we're going to work it out. But whatever we get professionals to find out exactly what the chametz is worth, the chametz that you'll have taken if you want it, but we'll make sure that the full payment is going to come through. This Rabbi Levi Bucket of Chicago, an American citizen visiting Canada, he has American dollars. It's better.
Oh. Yeah, you get about 30% off.
84. Right, so he should have no problem taking care of this. He is going to repay any of the responsibilities that you've taken upon yourself for the sale. That you're going to pay, he takes upon himself all of those responsibilities. Now, in addition to buying the chametz, you're also going to be renting the space from this afternoon, and we're talking now 3 days after Pesach, so we have to figure out how much the rental would be. Obviously, to rent a small room in downtown Toronto is a little more expensive than renting a small room, for example, in Newmarket. It's not going to be the same, right? So we have to look at the real estate. We have to look. P.O. boxes are not always the same either. There's some rooms, there are some homes, that entire homes. People have gone away for Passover, so they sold their entire home, right? I have some member of my congregation have gone to Mexico for Pesach, Florida. They sold the entire home, and you right now have the right to those keys. You have the right to enter the home at any point, because you are the rentee for this period of time. So there's a fee, of course, attached to that, and you're going to be giving a down payment of $1,000 for all of the space that you're renting. However, the rest of the money, because the 3 days after Pesach, if I didn't get paid yet, I'm not expecting to get paid for all these rentals. I'm going to come to our book and say, like, fair is fair. You rented the space. Whether you did or didn't enter the spaces that you rented is not relevant to me. You may. It's your choice. The fact is you rented them, I'm owed the money, and I expect to get paid. And this man's going to take care of that.
I'm going to skip town.
Then we have his information. He can't go anywhere. Don't worry. This is we have to figure out, the rent will have to be figured out on a rent is figured out sometimes per annum, sometimes figured out per month, and sometimes figured out, like, people break it down to a daily rate. But at any rate, whatever the right way to do this is, in each of those different places will be figured out, and he is going to be accepting this upon himself with something which is called Kinyan Agav Sudar. Kinyan Agav Sudar means that it's like a mechanism, like we have a legal idea in Canada where there's legal tender, where something is able to create. So, for example, the stroke of a pen, a handshake, these are things which can seal a deal, make somebody legally obligated. So this is a halachic concept called Kinyan Sudar. He's going to be making that commitment of Kinyan Sudar to repay all of the money you owe me. Rabbi Bukat's going to be making that commitment to me. Now, as proof that this is so, he is going to be signing this today, which is Friday. It is the 14th day of Nisan. The year is 5778 from creation. And here we are in the city of Vaughan, which is just above Toronto. Okay, so this is a legal document. I'm going to have, give me a soda. Can I book it? Nobody's forcing you to do this?
Can I run?
No, right?
Right?
Uh-huh.
You didn't drink anything this morning?
No.
Marijuana's almost legal. You didn't smoke anything. You know exactly what you're doing. You understand the responsibility you're getting yourself into. Then you understand that once he raises this, he is acquiring this kippah, but in exchange for acquiring this kippah, he gives himself over in exchange to all of the responsibility that we just outlined over here, and after making that commitment, he's going to be affixing his signature, which makes it legally binding. You got that? Okay, Rabbi? Okay, he's now legally bound.
You're a nice guy, I hope.
Sometimes.
Rabbi book it.
Hebrew, English?
Like it's not Exuber. Levi.
What does it say?
Ben Harav. Chaim Erzal. Book it. So this piece of paperwork has been executed now. Now we have what's called, this is yours. You're going to be paying with that, along with your down payment. And now I want to go through the document, and then I'm going to show you all of the
Well, read that to me, please.
Yeah.
Danny can get this translated. So, I was very
After
straight.
this is all done, me and him will have a chat. Yeah.
Oh no, Danny, we're done. We can chat about anything, but this
You can
deal,
interpret it again.
this deal is done.
That's right.
This deal's done. And you and I have nothing more to discuss about this. I will never come back to you to ask you for another penny.
We're friends now.
I'm only after I book it. He's my man. He's my man.
Okay.
He may come after you for the money, not me. Okay, so this document is all written in Hebrew again because it's so nuanced that we're dealing with a halachic, a Torah consideration of ownership. So what's most important for us is that this works halachically, which is Jewish ecclesiastical ritual law. That's why I'm leaving it in its original Hebrew, although you could easily get this translated, and Rabbi book it. I didn't tell him before, so he'll correct me if there's anything I mistranslated. He'll tell you if I'm saying anything wrong, because now he's on your side of the fence. Right. He's Jew in this deal.
2 against 1.
Okay. My signature below bears testimony as 100 kosher witnesses who are trustworthy. A euphemism, right? Just like I have 100 people who would say such and such. That I, who affixed my signature, am coming with the empowerment that I have received from all of the people whose names are in the various papers that are going to be attached to this original document. So before we actually execute the sale, when we do that, after I've signed this already, we're going to take all these documents. I'm going to go through these documents quickly, show you what they're like, where they're from, and we'll go. Once they're all together, they can be attached. It becomes one single thing. All of the documents that are attached here, or this includes also legal empowerment. Some of the documents did not reach me. There's some people who meant to send faxes, or maybe they thought they faxed or thought they scanned an email, and maybe the email didn't go through. There's some people who wanted to be here this morning, but for whatever reason, maybe some of them filled out these power of attorney papers. So we know that, and therefore we're making, in our deal, we're including in our sale even those who didn't manage to get the documentation here, although the documentation is very important. Some of the documentation may have gotten lost. Some of the people asked somebody else to do this for them. They made a verbal declaration, but they didn't actually sign a paper. They should have. That's a better way to do business. Or maybe somebody asked somebody and somebody came here and forgot to write his name down. So we're including that in the sale also. We also include in this sale anybody who wanted to give permission, but for whatever reason didn't get around to it. So let's say I had somebody who said to me, "Oh, Rabbi, you're going to sell my chametz for me, right?" And then, or he thought he said that to me, but he never ended up saying it, never ended up filling out the document. We're including those people in this sale also, including people who did this last year and just for some reason forgot about it. But I know they would want to do it if I had a chance to remind them. All of these people who I have permission, or in all likelihood have permission, or they may have asked me, or they would consider it meritorious or good or proper or positive that I should do this for them, that I should sell this to you before the time that the chametz is prohibited. So the chametz is actually prohibited at 12:15. That's when we can no longer benefit from it anymore. But we have to stop eating at 11:14 today. I have, though, documentation from Halifax, and they're an hour ahead of us. So we have to make sure to finish our sale, to finish our acts of acquisition before 11:14, because once it's 12:14 in Halifax, it's too late. Then their chametz can't be sold anymore. Right? And obviously, there are some people that are west of us. There are people who are in, like I said, Mexico, people in California. So I'm selling the chametz for them a little bit early, but that's, they're okay with that. What I'm not doing is selling chametz in Europe, like in England or further west, because for them it's Pesach already, and I wouldn't be able to act in their stead. Now this sale includes all kinds of chametz. Of course, you know what chametz is. You're a man of food. Chametz is the 5 grains that have come in contact with anything which is alkaline based. There's something called Amy B or Amy C Lacey is the name of the chemical. Now what happens is when alkaline comes in contact with these chemicals that are contained in the dust or even in the kernels of one of the 5 grains, it triggers a process which is called chimutz in Hebrew. In English we would call it fermentation. It's a kind of fermentation. And the symptom is that the paste or the dough would start to fill with little holes. It starts to get blown up. Right? It fills with little air pockets. So that's chametz. So then there's something called the chametz chametz. We don't know if it's chametz. We don't know. There are things like alcohol is something which is actually chametz, but it's alcohol that evaporated. Right? You have beer. You have things that fermented and then it evaporated, and somehow the process which they would liquefy that. So that's also chametz. And some things we think might be chametz. We don't even know. You know how sophisticated food process is today. some kind of citric acid. Sometimes they use corn starch, sometimes they're using grain starch. So anything which is a size question of chametz. And this also includes pets. A lot of people have pets. Pets are animals, whether birds who are fed chametz, so they were responsible for. And maybe, the bird put some chametz away. And I could be eating my chametz on Pesach, but I don't want it to happen. So you own the bird now. Okay? This includes also all kinds of artifacts, like kitchenware, that maybe has chametz hardened on it. Now, obviously, that's kind of weird. Why would you want to buy the hardened chametz, the hardened remnants of food, on a mix master? So, 886-1544. Just tell him I'm in the middle of the mechira. Tell him we didn't make the kinyanim yet.
He's coming over?
He was here in the morning.
Huh?
He was here, right? He gave me all the stones. So things like that, you would actually be purchasing those mix masters. You just purchase the stove, or even if it's like in some way, somebody doesn't want to own the chametz, you're doing him the favor. So I'll purchase that chametz also. Anything which anybody permitted you to do, all of this, of course, is being done before the time of the prohibition. Because once the prohibition sets in, we are by Torah law prohibited from benefiting. And one of the benefits you could have from an object is to sell it. So naturally, if I'm no longer allowed to benefit, how could I sell it to you? That's why we're sitting here, right, just before the time, getting this done. Now, in addition to empowering me to sell the chametz on their behalf, they've also given me the power of attorney to rent the spaces. All of the places where the chametz, or these chametz vessels, chametz artifacts, chametz mechanisms might find themselves. Or the places where, like the dog kennel, or the cat cage, I don't know, wherever people keep the bird cage, wherever people keep their animals. And people have not really told me what to do, even though some of them are very learned, some of these people are rabbis themselves, but they've left it to me. Right? Said, okay, they're trusting me, so you do it as you know best, and in the way that I believe will be most effective from a Torah perspective, in the way that is most effective for us sitting here today. They've empowered me to do so. So now that I've explained to you what we're doing, and I've told you and who's I'm acting on whose behalf, let me say that this is as of today. I have sold all of this, all the documentation here, all of these different places here. Everything is sold, including the chametz that's found in this very building, right? This Chabad Lubavitch Center, which is people call Chabad Flamingo, even though the technical name is Ernst Mansell Lubavitch Center, but it's called Chabad Flamingo. And this is found in Bathurst Street. And I've written the address here in English, 8001 Bathurst Street, Thornhill, Ontario, L4J 805. Now, what I did is I have a let me see if it's an emergency, sorry. Good morning, Rabbi Kaplan speaking. Yeah. It's not too late. I'm sitting with Danny Durante right now. We didn't make the kinyanim yet. Tell your husband to be here very, very, very quickly. You should come as Amat Chabad from English, come as quickly as possible, because we're okay. Thank you. Yeah, of course, I mentioned that, of course. Rabbi Shachar just called her with another name.
Yes.
Right? Her name is Maya Liba. I don't know anything about her or where she lives, but I guess we have to go back to Rabbi Shachar. So we're just going to say that it was through Rabbi Shachar. So when you take your papers and start looking through it, I'm just going to write in English for you so you'll be able to read this. You'll call Rabbi Shachar, you go with this paper, say, Rabbi Shachar, who's this lady? Where's my comments? Okay?
I remember Rabbi. Nice guy.
And so I'm adding this to the papers there. So last year, if you remember, what I did is I wrote this like in tiny script. I filled in all the places. I got a little smarter. So Rabbi Yossi sat with he was very careful, and what he did is we wrote out a full page. I called it 8001 Bathurst Street, Thornhill, Ontario, Schedule A, Chametz sale contract. So this is all the places where the chametz are. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to staple the details to this original document. I'm just going to write in here as per the details in Schedule A. Okay, so this is actually in English. See, this is the ballroom kitchen. The kitchen side, the ballroom we divided in half.
Okay.
The kitchen side, except for the path to the roof hatch room, because we have to be able to get into the roof hatch room. So we just allow ourselves the pathway to the roof hatch room, but otherwise, everything in there is sold. the ballroom windows of the south wall up until just over the dance floor. Okay? The room next to the elevator,
Okay.
which is upstairs, we have a mini kitchen upstairs, not the main kitchen. We call it for bringing kitchen. It's where the guys have to come in the evening to study a little, and there's activity going on. We don't open the big kitchen, so it's a little kitchen. There's a coffee station, which is open on a regular basis. Then we have the main kitchen. There's a dairy kitchen, which is smaller, and a meat kitchen. I think I showed it to you once.
Yes.
So that's also the area between the main kitchens, which are backstairs, which allows us to take garbage out. There's a room here called the youth closet, where the youth counselors have, let's say, I guess chips and candy and stuff like that, which is snacks. So that youth closet. The marked off portions of the area we call the Prime Minister's office. There's a storage room right in the opening, in our grand opening. Prime Minister Harper came here, so we needed a place to put him. So his handlers came in and they saw this little room. I said, "Oh, perfect." They said, "It's a storage room." I said, "Great." He spends half his life backstage. So that storage room became known as the Prime Minister's office. Sounds a little ridiculous, but that's what we're talking about. Okay. So the portion of the Prime Minister's office marked off portions, not all of it. There's some portions we want to be accessible still, but there are marked off areas of it. Feigi's office, which is right over here, and you're actually going to acquire Feigi's office today. I'm going to give you the keys. Okay. You're actually going to lock it. You're going to, if you want, you can store your documentation in your office here, okay, or you can take it with you as you please. At the front desk there, these drawers are all closed off and being sold. Chana's drawers. Okay. It's the bookkeeper. Rivki's drawers. It's the desk right in the front when you come in. The closet in Rabbi Yossi's office is taped. As well as the compartments in the bookshelf under my office, which is right here. You see I taped these bookshelves. Okay. The bottom, there's some whiskey in there or some other things like that. As well as the upper compartment of this workplace credenza right over here. This one is taped off because I have a bottle of whiskey in there. That's also taped off, so you actually own this little area. Okay, everywhere else is clean for Passover, that's not. So all of that, and I'm just going to add in the words, Ubechol Makom Shehu. Anywhere else in this building that it might be, should be included. Now, I'm stapling, I'm writing into the document, 8001 Bathurst, as per,
I see you have rooms that have, is that included?
Huh?
You have rooms with yellow markings.
The rooms are much smaller, but this pen is leaking all over me. Leaky pen, okay, sorry. Give me a second star. I just got ink all over the star after the star. So yeah, I printed out extra documentation. It's good because it's got ink all over this. Never happened even before the pension leak like that. Okay, so we're gonna write as per. Good morning, Rabbi Kaplan speaking. 5770. Okay, Danny?
Yes.
So I've written here, as per the details in Schedule A, this is Schedule A. Yes. And we're going to be stapling Schedule A to this. So now you know exactly where the properties are that you own here in the building. As well as the chametz of my own personal chametz, which I'm going to be selling to you at my house on Highcliffe Drive, which is 461 Highcliffe, Thornhill, Ontario, F4J 7M9. And here what I've done is, I wrote my address here, Schedule B, chametz contract sale. There's a barbecue on the back porch, which is covered. So that's your barbecue now. In the garage, in the northwest side of the garage is covered. Take a pen.
Thank you.
Go outside, please. Fill in what you got to fill in. You come in and make your opinion after.
Yes.
And the northwest area is covered up. I got like chairs piled up and like a plastic around that. So you own that as well as the freezer top of the fridge on the northeast side. So basically, I have a fridge. The fridge I need is for extra storage. I've taped off just the freezer on the top. Okay, so that's marked. That's your freezer. and the contents belong to you. What's in the fridge is still, so it's the same cord, but you're owning like a portion of it. In the washrooms, under the vanities on the top floor, so there's things like that. In the dining room, there's the buffet drawers and cabinets, and in the dining room, there's a china closet. Okay? So all these things I am selling to you, and I'm going to write as per. Now, see, Danny, I left some space over because last year I had written in. So, according to Torah law, if a document has extra space, it's not kosher because somebody can write whatever they want in there. Want to make me the pen, make me a shliach, I should say it on the say that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So, in order to make that, this should be a legal document. See, this is what I mean. Like, guys comes in now. If he came in 20 minutes from now, he would still say we would have sold his chametz because he wanted to. They get around to it. It's better he did, but would have been included in the sale. So, you see how I filled it in over here?
Yes.
So now there's nothing. If anything else is written in this document, clearly it's a forgery because this is perfectly aligned. Okay, now getting into the meat of the document. All of this is sold to, right here, this is all being executed in the city of Vaughan, above Toronto. And this is being sold to a gentleman who is not Jewish, one of my dear friends, right? But you're not Jewish. And your name is Danny. Your legal name is Damiano Durante.
That's right.
You live at 281 Brighton Avenue in Toronto, Ontario, M3H 4G9.
That's right.
So we have that written in English. So it's okay. And this is an absolute irrevocable sale. There's no conditions attached whatsoever. There is no, we're not retaining any ownership. It's not like we retain a little ownership. No ownership whatsoever. This includes any kind of chametz, any doubtful chametz, any mixture of chametz. Sometimes you have a mixture where you have, a tiny bit of chametz which is added maybe to make something last longer. They'll put it in a certain starch. All of that will be included in this sale. Even if it's doubtful, even if something we're not even sure if halacha would deem it chametz or not chametz. We're not taking any chances. All that's included. This includes something called chametz noksha, which without getting into details is, it means if the process of fermentation has been impeded and never really completed. So it's like chametz. It's called hardened chametz. It's a euphemism. So even chametz like that, like sometimes certain kinds of paper mache could be chametz noksha. It's never really edible. Certain kind of Play-Dohs maybe. So whether it's the actuality of chametz or it's just the taste of chametz, sometimes they infuse a product with taste, but that taste is chametz based because it's alcohol based. Whether this is something which is biblically prohibited, whether it's something which is rabbinically prohibited. Sometimes we take our religion very seriously. We try to take responsibility seriously. Sometimes we have something called in Hebrew a chumrah, a stringency. It's not legally bound. It's not actually because it's something we're going the extra mile. In other words, this includes all the kinds of grains, all kinds of flours, all kinds of groats, all kinds of bran, all kinds of starch, all kinds of chametz or a doubtful chametz which is manufactured from them. Whether these are raw, whether these are baked, whether these are cooked, whether they're roasted, whether they're dry roasted, whether they're pickled, whether they're salted, any different kind. We're talking here also about alcohol. We're talking here about beer. We're talking here about whiskey. We're talking here about vodka, tequila, if it's made of chametz, anything like that. All these things are being included in the sale, whether these things are straightforward, whether they're just a detailed mix, whether they're some sweeteners, anything which is made for the consumption of a human or the consumption of an animal. So for example, dog biscuits are a problem for us too. So like what does somebody do if they own a dog on Pesach? They can't buy chametz dog biscuits. They have to buy Passover food. So either he gets fancy food. I don't know if somebody's made a business out of making Passover dough cookies yet, but you gotta feed him something else. But you wouldn't be able because by if somebody was desperate, somebody could eat dog food.
There's a business model.
There was a story in the States of a guy who got stuck in a garage. Like the alarm went off and he couldn't get out, but the people were out of town. He was stuck there for 10 days. And he couldn't get out because the place went on lockdown. And he survived by eating a bag of dog food, dog biscuits. then because it's the states, he sued the owners and he won. You imagine? The point is that under extenuating circumstances, a human being can eat a food which is suitable for animals. May not be tasty, may not be nice. Do what you got to do, right? Or sometimes there are things which are not made to consume, they're made to drink. Some things are made for medicinal purposes, but even medicinal purposes, it's made for consumption. It's not food per se, but a chametz which is made for, like whether it's a cough drop or whether it's some other medicine, it's made to ingest. Or if this is something which is made for people's personal benefit. We're including here, just going to an extreme like women's perfume. During the Prohibition years, there were people who drank perfume. We're including even here certain kinds of liquid soap, certain kinds of toothpaste even. You used to sell the kosher Passover toothpaste. Mm-hmm. Whether you could even talk about glue. There's this people eating Tide Pods or something. A lot of craziness out there, right? People sniffing glue.
Epsom salt.
Epsom salt. Anything crazy like this, which people might, some remote chance, go ahead and eat. If there's chametz, or there's a question of chametz, whether it's full chametz, whether it's hardened chametz, developed chametz, undeveloped chametz, whether it's for animals who are benefiting from this. We're talking here also about businesses. Businesses that sell food. Businesses that are involved in wholesaling chametz. We could even be talking about people who own shares in a company, who's involved. We're talking about somebody who has machinery or pots and pans or artifacts which handle chametz and deal with chametz. Chametz got hardened to it. Here's the rule. Whatever I could say, and I'm not that articulate, but I'm fairly articulate. Some people are more articulate. And the most articulate person in the world who can marshal an unfathomable amount of words to describe food stuff, food consumption, chametz, anything a person could possibly say, and even things we don't have words for, people just think of their heart, that's included in this sale, automatically. All of these people who have written in the places that they said it's going to be, and even maybe the places they forgot that they left chametz. This also includes things which are left behind in the field. We have some farmers here. It also includes things which are in shipping. I have a guy who came to me yesterday. He's got stuff in a warehouse in Africa. I said, "What's the address?" He says, "I don't know." I'm like, how can I sell the chametz for you? He says, "What am I supposed to do? It's in transit." He's got like bales of chametz, huge. I don't call them tiffs or bales, So that's included in this also. Whether this is on the high and dry land, like that guy who's got stuff in Africa. Whether this is on the high seas. Whether this is right now flying in a DHL plane. Or whether it's in the mail, stuck in the mail system somewhere. So, and even if it comes to people, let's say it gets delivered. On, Canada Post brings you a package, says, "Sorry, your Nabisco thing has now been..." So, we included that. It was out there, it was earmarked for me, it's in the sale. Okay. You own that too. When it came, it's yours now in air, and when it arrives, you're actually the owner of it. Whether this is our chametz, whether it's chametz that we have some rights to, whether it's something which is placed under our care that we would be responsible for. All of this is being sold according to fair market value in this city in Thonhill. Now, I don't know what it's worth in the different province. I don't know what it's worth in a different country. We live here. We're doing business the way it is here. In the city of Vaughan, Toronto, that's the medium we're using. And according to now, whatever it's going to cost, which means, God forbid, they could break out some kind of natural disaster and there's a scarcity of food, all of a sudden a box of cookies is selling for $100, you made the profit. You have agreed to pay the value that it had today, not the value it would have then. If something happened, who knows? You could be a very rich man. You own all their chametz. After Pesach, if somebody wanted to buy chametz from you, say, "Hey, I used to own that chametz." Oh, that's nice. Now it used to be worth $10. Well, now it's worth $500. You have the full legal right to sell it to anybody you want. Sell it to a Jew after Pesach. Sell it to a non-Jew on Pesach. Because this is a real deal. Now, sometimes you may find out people know there's a scarcity of food somewhere else, and therefore they'll ship food there. So, let's say you can get more money in the States, whatever else it is. That's your purview. You can do as you please. The amount you have to pay is what it's worth over here. Now, not everything has an easy price tag. I know you're a grocer. I know you're doing this many years. You know more than most people. You're a smart guy, Danny. But in the event that we have a situation where we're not sure how much things are worth, there'll be 3 people that I will choose. Or something happens to me, I'm incapacitated, somebody will act on my stead. We'll choose 3 people who are business people, who have an understanding of fair market value, and they will evaluate. They will come to a conclusion of what something is worth. Now, all of this is included also. The chametz which will be found in any of these places. Even chametz that nobody would buy. I don't know, like a half-eaten bag of biscuits. Half-eaten bagel, whatever it is. Now from this point and onward, they are you. You are the aforementioned here. The aforementioned, which is Danny, Damiano, Durante. Everything in this contract is about you. You're the man. And it's sold to you for that amount of money. Now, all of the monies that will come to you from all these places, for after you finish weighing and measuring, only because I really appreciate you helping me out with the sale. I gotta get rid of the stuff. I really need to move on it. So I am going to be subtracting $500 for the final. So if you owe me at the end of this, you owe me $50,000. It's only gonna be $49.50, and you'll be making that extra money in order for the favor that you're doing us, because we really want to do this business deal. It's important for us to get this done now. This also is going to include the rent for the various places. It also includes taxes, right? So if there's any taxes like that, or people that have to be involved in executing this stuff, so anywhere from now, from 12 days ahead, which gives us after Pesach. Okay, this is the period of time. I'm going to be subtracting, because of all these additional expenses you might have, an additional 3%, which means you only owe me, or actually you'll only be paying me 97 cents on a dollar. You can sell this today if you want. During Passover to a non-Jew, you can ship it somewhere else. You can sell it without even touching it. You can sell, I own chametz in these places. You can sell that. You can do the right away. And from after Pesach, you can sell it even to a Jew if you wanted. It's yours. I can't stop you from doing whatever you want. So I'm giving you, and it's not just me, everybody who signed the paper here, and everybody who's spoken an agreement to have me stand in their stead as power of attorney to make the sale, they have agreed that you have the rights to enter the property, unannounced, at any time, to see the space that you've rented, and to see the chametz that you bought. And it includes all of even the artifacts, the stove that you bought, the fridge that you bought in my house. You can come into it and see it any time. Now, I am going also to give you my keys. In theory, I have keys from other people also. If you want, Danny, I can give you the keys from other people as well.
Okay.
You have the keys to all these places. Now, in the event that for whatever reason, just say your chametz?
Yeah, I mean, I still here. I forgot.
Yeah, just do me a favor. Just put on the paper over there. Do what you got to do. I'll make it now. This is called like just-in-time management. So you have the keys to be going into them, and I'm going to be receiving from you a down payment this morning, Danny, of $1,000.
Okay.
And that's that down payment. Now for the rest of the money, which you're going to be owing me, even though I don't know what that is, I have the signature of Rabbi Levi, the son of Rabbi Chaim Meir, God bless his soul, book it. He has entered into now as a guarantorship for you, the aforementioned of this document. You're going to be paying me $1,000, and you're going to give me this check. This for me is gold, because I go with this straight to that man. I get all my money. He has agreed. We saw before he raised up the Sudar. He's agreed to do this, and after taking that off, the 3%, whatever I afford you, he doesn't have to pay me anything. You don't owe me. So the 3%, the $500 subtracted, and as well as the $1,000 down payment, he doesn't have to pay that, obviously, because you paid that already yourself. So I'm going to subtract. I'm only going to be asking for 97 cents a dollar. I'm not asking for the $1,000 you already paid, and certainly not asking for $500 I agreed to give you off. So from now going forward, all of this chametz is going to be bought by you without any question whatsoever. I can't come to you, I can't have any complaints to you, I can't have any say, Danny, where's my money? I can't ask you for anything. I'm agreeing to it wholeheartedly, without any question about it. I will only have the right to approach Rabbi Booker for the money after this. All the monies that will come to you, you have a responsibility to pay him. When you sell the stuff, because he has to pay me. So you'll have to indemnify him, but that's nothing to do with me anymore. I only have the dealings with the art of Kabbalah from this point and onward. And all of this deal is fully in place, as we said, until 3 days after Passover. Now, in the event, of course, within 3 days after Passover,
You need your driver's license on that.
if for whatever reason he decides he wants out of this deal, or he wants to sell it to somebody else, or he can back out if he wants. Like, I can't stop him from backing out. If he wants to talk to you and undo the deal, that's his business. Right? It has nothing to do with me. I have made a fully irrevocable sale with absolutely nothing attached to it. Then you can't even come back to me, in fact. I can't even undo anything. We're done. You can say, hey, you know what, I'm not sure if I want to do the sale anymore. I can't help you. I'm fully paid. I don't know who you are, as far as this deal is concerned. I only know this man. He's the only one I'm going to court with. So if he wants to reverse things, he can do whatever he wants, but it'll always have to go through him. You and I no longer have further dealings. Now, not only is this true about the chametz that was sold, but also all the places where the chametz will be, the same deal applies, and all of the same concepts apply. You're going to be giving me a down payment of $1,000, and the rest of the money for the rent, I'm going to be receiving after the Rabbi book it. Want to make me a shliach?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you're making me a shliach.
Making you a shliach.
To sell your chametz for you.
Okay,
I accept it.
Oh, God.
It's good you came just in time.
I know.
Okay. Now, anything that shkoyach, anything extra. Now it's yad pelk yad balabayas. You hired me. I have to do it. So anything that's that will be owed afterwards from the rest of the rent, once again, I'll be getting from Rabbi Boket. These places are, as we said, available to you. They belong to you. You rented them fair and square for the next 12 days. And if somebody doesn't allow you into their property, I'm agreeing from the beginning. You have the right, Danny, to break the locks. You can bring a sheriff. You can break the locks. You can enter. Nobody has the right to not allow you to enter. The fact of the matter is, they agreed to this, and they asked me to act on their behalf. And this is they've trusted me. This is the trust they placed in me. I'm telling you, Danny, you have the right to go to any of those houses. You have to take all these things. They all have addresses. Go through any of these documents anywhere. You can go to Halifax. You got property there.
Quick
Rented.
question.
Yeah.
How come this gentleman just paid you? The gentleman before that didn't pay you?
Some people want that Rabbi should be bound, and therefore they figure if they pay him $20, and now he is obligated to pay. Some
Okay.
people are not worried. They say, I don't care. So,
Smart. You put your money down on the right.
I didn't tell people what to do.
Money talks.
The truth is,
Always gets the job done fast.
between me and you, Danny, I don't keep any of the money that people give for the side. I give everything to the synagogue, but that's my choice.
Hey.
That's my choice. That's my letter. I always do keep the money. That's my choice. I give everything to the synagogue.
Very
But
good
the point is that when you do this, the custom is to do it because then they've actually hired me to do it, and then I'm fully responsible. Okay, so this includes all of those rooms. This includes animal spaces, right? They could include chicken coops, dog kennels. This could include bird cages. All of these things are now going to become part of under your jurisdiction as a rental. They're leased to you. Now we're going to do a number of what's called kinyanim, a number of acts of acquisition, and if one kinyan doesn't work, with one act of acquisition, then the other kinyan works. We're going to be doing all kinds of things. If there's something wrong with this document, if like you saw ink spilled before us, we had another document. If I wouldn't have another document, the document will always be interpreted in the favor of this sale working.
Okay.
So if there's any doubt, always interpreted in favor of the efficaciousness of this sale. You can take this document, you can bring it to a lawyer this afternoon, you can have it translated legally, whatever taxes are applicable here. If I owe taxes, obviously you owe taxes, you're going to pay what you have to pay. If I have to pay anything, I'm committed to do anything that I'm legally required to. This is a legal contract. It's done in accordance with all of the laws of the province of Ontario and the Confederation of Canada. And this is both for the rental as well as for the sale. And just to show you how serious I am, I'm going to affix my signature to this. Here we are on the Friday, on the 14th day of Nisan, the year 5778, right here in the city of Vaughan, which is right above, next to Toronto. So you got all this straight?
Yes.
Okay.
Want to repeat
So
that?
we made. So Danny, let's move forward quickly because in Halifax the time we have just 2 minutes left in Halifax. I'd like if you can please give me $1,000 now as a down payment for.
You okay with cash?
Yes, cash is good.
Money talks.
Okay, let's count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so I have received $1,000 now as a down payment for the Chametz sale.
Yes.
This is for the Chametz sale. I'd like to ask you for another $1,000 for the rental of the spaces. A down payment is not the full amount, but I'd like to ask you to have that now. One.
Wow. Expensive deal.
Okay, actually, the money, the first thing we're going to acquire is the spaces you're going to acquire.
Right.
First the rental, because then what you acquire the food by virtue of the space that it's in. So okay, let's do it again now. You give me the money first now to rent the spaces, and now this $1,000 down payment. You're giving me another $1,000 down payment for the rental of all those spaces, which for the chametz as everything outlined here in this document.
It's recorded, right?
And that's live. We got viewers all over the place. Now I'd like to ask you to pay me the rest by virtue of this check. So basically, once you're giving this to me, you've paid in full. So you have now paid in full. Everything that you were supposed to give has now been given. That deal is effective. What we're going to do now is we're going to shake hands on this deal. Thank you very much, Danny. It's a pleasure doing business with you. This act of handshake is, in fact, acquiring the chametz.
Okay.
So by virtue of me giving you that handshake, I give you the chametz. I'm going to give you now my keys.
Okay.
So are you taking my keys? This is my keys. This is the key to my house. This is the key to the front door of the shul. This is the key to the office. We're going to go now into Feigi's office. You're actually going to lock the door after we take you put your things over there.
Okay.
So you have the keys also. I've given you the keys.
Danny, I got nothing, Danny. Yeah, nothing in there. Okay.
That's between you guys. You can
In addition to these keys, like I said, if you need the keys from any of the other places, I'm happy to do this for you as well. Okay, and now we're going to take all of the documentation over here.
You got to staple it.
Staple it. Shmuley, bring me the garbage bag, please.
We got compact.
Right, so these are, Danny, these are documents that people gave me. This document says they're empowering me. You see, like for example, here people wrote an address, right? And they wrote where exactly it is. Different places.
Very neat. First was very neat.
Yeah. So these are documents that people gave me. These are my documents. In addition, I just want to show you what's going on.
Rich man now.
Just so you see, Danny. If you want to come and look at your things and try to figure out what's what,
Put this key right here.
Danny, this is your Halifax. This is a document of empowerment that's been passed on. Here you have addresses in Halifax. Okay? Let's put this on top of this. Here you have people in Aurora, right over here. Okay? That's included. Here you have Maple, Ontario. Here we have Mississauga, Richmond Hill. Here we have, this is from around Toronto. This is from Westport, Connecticut. This is from London, Ontario. Old London, Ontario. Kingston, Ontario. Huh? Ah, okay, perfect. That's here. This is also from north of the city of Vaughan, Wallingford, Connecticut. You have from around the city of Toronto. This is from Midtown Toronto. This is from the kids at the yeshiva, the stuff that they sold. Waterloo. This is from Bayview area. Okay. This is from
A lot of real estate.
Markham, Ontario. Okay, all this. These are people who have empowered me. This is all the contracts I received. This is Rabbi Shachat's contracts.
Okay.
And this is the rest of one from Lubavitch. Take all of these contracts. Take our big contract over here. I'm going to put it into the bag together.
Taping it together?
Huh?
Taping it together?
Yeah, tape. Want to give me a tape? Give me a...
Want to move that up?
Yeah, it's a good idea to move it there.
How about if I hold it and you take it?
done, Danny. It's going into the bag now. Okay, pull the bag open, guys. I gotta sign my document. Okay, so the document is sold. Danny, to final effect the sale, there's all your documentation.
Thank you.
The sale is basically done. Now the last thing you do is here's the key. You hold onto this key. This is the office. This is the office you're purchasing. The same key.
These are the same key?
Yeah.
All right.
You're going to go into, put this down if you want, and I want you to walk back and forth, and in doing so you acquire that room, and that helps us further to acquire all the other chametz that were taken all over.
Okay.
Else. Okay, so this is going to be a room. Let's lock it, and you'll open it. Use your key to open it.
Can you help me?
Yes.
Open it.
Let's throw the chametz over, please. Bring the corner for you. The corner for me. Right there.
Okay.
Right out of
This
the
is
way.
the corner. Okay. Walk back and forth. Want to send an email from the computer?
I don't need to say anything.
1 second.
Anything else that needs to be removed?
Okay. No, we're good.
Nope, this way.
You can turn the lights off in your room if you want.
Save electricity.
Save electricity. That's my electricity, but anyway. They're good tenants. And the key. The key's yours.
Here's mine.
Key's yours.
Okay.
Danny?
Business with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.